It's old!
No, that intro's not good enough for a 10th anniversary special. We need a posher one with more oomph. Absolutely perfect. Classy and yet also fitting. So yes, hello and welcome to the Ashens 10th Anniversary Spectacular, and as you've probably guessed, it's not going to be very spectacular. Because to be brutally honest with you, I don't really go in for all these milestones and backslapping things. I just want to make more silly videos about stuff. But I thought I can't let 10 years pass without so much as mentioning it. My goodness. Also, the channel hit 1 million subscribers a couple of months ago. Can't remember if I mentioned that. But that's also a thing, so hey, everything's happening. 10 bloody years. 10 years I've been doing this. Terrifying. 10 years since I ditched Google Video because it was rubbish and I'd only been using it 3 weeks. I think Google did pretty much the same thing, actually. Then they bought YouTube, didn't they? Yeah. And my God, YouTube has changed a lot since 2006. It used to be a little mouse made of tarpaulin that orbited the planet and beamed down sonic waves that told you about the cheeses of the world. And now it's some kind of video sharing site or something. How things change, eh? My goodness. So, I'm now going to give you a brief history of how the channel started, because I don't think I've ever done that on the channel, actually. It's something I answer a lot at live events. Maybe this will stop people asking it. Yeah, you're right, it probably won't. So, here's the story then. I've always been kind of obsessed with short-form amateurish videos, as you may have noticed. I was reminded recently of an old Channel 4 programme called Takeover TV, where this is years before the internet. This would have been like 1995 or something, where, well, I suppose home internet connections were available for a very select few. But, yeah, it was some sort of television programme, Channel 4, and they were like, send in your tapes that you filmed on your camcorders and we'll edit them into a programme and it'll be great. It was presented mostly by Adam Buxton. If you know of him, he is a very good British comedy man, lives locally. I see him on the train occasionally that goes from Norwich to London. Presumably he's travelling from Norwich to London. I don't know. I hope so, because if he's got on that train and he isn't, he's in for a bad day. Yeah, anyway, there were a lot of very silly clips and some quite heartfelt clips and then some just clips that were plain bad, and it was all quite amusing. And I was quite obsessed with it at the time. I'd recorded it because it was one of these late night programmes. I remember watching the programme like 3 or 4 times, which I don't normally watch the same thing repeatedly, but there was something about the, just raw ideas that took to me, and it was very much YouTube before YouTube was a thing, and I think actually it kind of stuck in my mind. I always had just like a cheap video camera and would occasionally make things, and they were always pretty much shite back in the day. Hey, maybe they still are, but people watch them now for some reason. So, yeah, I think that kind of set off an impetus, and it was years later, about 10 years ago from now, in fact, so what, February 2006, or thereabouts, I actually started this bloody channel to show them off. And there's a little bit of history to that, too. It'd been about 6 months before that, I suppose, sometime in 2005-ish, I would imagine. Should have looked up the dates, didn't. Oh well, such is life. Back when internet forums were a thing, I was on one for an old video games journalist, and somebody spotted the original pop station on eBay, and I thought, oh my God, that is funny. So I bought it, because it was in like a £5 or something, and in order to show it to the people on the forum, I just recorded it on this very sofa, this very spot right here probably, and just sort of ad-libbed what it did briefly. Uploaded it to the old internet and on some sort of awful file sharing site, because this is before video sharing was really a thing, so it was like you had to download the WMV file from putthatfile.net or something, and most people were probably doing it on dial-up, so it's quite a painful process, I imagine. Anyway, I expected like 15 people to ever watch it, but it got picked up by Beta, the online creative newsletter. Goes out on a Friday. Well, not so much anymore, but it was a very big thing at the time. Beta, incidentally, is B3TA, if you know it as that. But it is pronounced Beta. It's in their FAQ and everything. And FAQ is FAQ, All right, let's just get on with it, eh? It ended up being viewed by about 70,000 people, which blew many of my socks off. I was like, crikey. But then I realised I hadn't put my website address on it. I had a website for a few sort of written articles and flash animations and stuff. Hadn't said I'd made it. And as a direct result of that, the internet was very quickly awash with American teenagers presenting they'd made it. So I actually made the second video, the Neo Double Games, to prove I'd made the first, hence why I appear at the start and introduce myself. Although I did kind of cock that up by still forgetting to put my bloody website address at the end. Professionalism. But yeah, that's got viewed by like a similar amount of people, which surprised me. And I thought I would do a third one, at which point people will then be sick of it. Nope, third one was bigger still. And it just kept going and going and going for a bloody decade. My goodness. And obviously in February 2006, I actually moved it onto YouTube because that seemed an easy way to share video online as compared to the ludicrous, file sharing stuff I was having to do beforehand. I did originally put it on Google Video because I always back the winner. But yeah, Google Video, if you remember that, you probably remember why that didn't last very long. Yeah, didn't need another title card, thanks for that. So yes, 10 bloody years of tat and expired food and this sofa, which it really, really is not seeing better days. Did you know the sofa's modular? Originally there were 5 pieces to it, but now only 2 remain. That one on the left's a bit manky, and this one is, slightly better. But not looking too great. It will have to be replaced one day. But that day is still a way off, mainly because I don't think I can get this one out the bloody door. So I suppose we should look at the greatest achievements of the channel. Well, I don't know, it's a very holistic thing. I tend to like all the videos on it, or I wouldn't have uploaded them. You know, every little one forms another facet of it. I suppose the thing that I'm most proud of, actually, are the kind of offshoot things, which went much better than I thought they would. Wrote the book, Terrible Old Games You've Probably Never Heard of, last year. Very, very pleased with that. It came out better than I ever dreamed it could, and has sold lots of copies to people who like reading with their eyes, so that's nice. Bigger success is probably Ashens and the Quest for the Game Child, the feature film what We Gone Done made, which not only turned out far better than we could ever have hoped, really, through a combination of extreme hard work and more extreme fucking hard work, but also was far more successful than we could ever have imagined, really. It still blows me away thinking about that. It's been watched nearly 1 million times online, and sold loads of DVDs and stuff. It's astonishing. And this year we'll be making a sequel as a result, and we don't have to crowdsource it because the first one was successful. Hooray! It's all good. Tell you what's not good, though. It's time for cake, because you can't have a celebration without cake. And I'm very pleased to say, no wait, that was a lie. I'm pretty frickin' horrified to say, this cake is 37 years old. Not quite as old as I am, but pretty close. Here's the story. Allow me to read it from this letter here. This was sent in by a person called Alistair. And this is a slice of his parents' wedding cake, the middle tier, that they had kept for his christening, but he was never christened, and is literally just been sitting in a box for 37 years, through 12 house moves, apparently. Well, they move quite a lot, don't they? I suspect they are being chased by the KGB. Apparently, whilst getting the Christmas decorations down for this year's festivities, my dad noticed that the box seemed a little damp and decided to bring it down to take a look. Its condition didn't look great. The icing had discoloured to a lovely shade of brown. Yes, when I say my dad there, incidentally, that is Alistair's dad, not my dad. He didn't go around to Alistair's house and nick all his Christmas decorations. That would be weird. I'm sure he'd like to. My dad does like a bit of breaking and entering and stealing festive stuff, but, you know, he's getting on and can't always escape the police in time. Also, Alistair very kindly sent us this photo of what the cake looked like in its entirety. Yeah, thanks for not sending us the whole thing, mate. Notice there's some Lurpak there. Please don't tell me you put butter on it and then ate it. Anyway, time for the gloves, I feel. Oh, good grief, I've only brought one glove. 10 years and we still can only afford one glove. Right, this will be a bit of a problem. Oh, they're not dusted either, so they're quite difficult to put on. No, we're all right. Okay. Apparently it has quite a lot of brandy in it. It bloody needs to. So what is 37-year-old wedding cake like? Come in. Yeah, pretty hard, strangely enough. Also, of course, yeah, that's not really white anymore. It looks like a Dreamcast that's been on a windowsill for about 10 years. What's the texture like? Oh my goodness. It's, do you know, it's still slightly moist. It's not like completely dried out. It's quite impressive in its way. What does it actually smell like? Oh, oh, that was a mistake. Oh, that was a mistake. Oh, you have to bear with me a second. Oh, 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 blimey. It smells of booze and rot, or tramp, as I believe the fragrance is known. Oh my God. Yeah, that was pretty not special. Do you know, I don't particularly enjoy fruitcake at the best of times, but yeah, this is a particular... Oh, God. Oh, the icing has gone pretty dry and hard, but yeah. Well, sorry to disappoint you, but I won't be eating any of this on the grounds I would quite like to make it another 10 years, because, oh man, the smell from this is really something quite astonishing. I'm just going to put that over there. And we can enjoy that with our eyes. I'll enjoy it with my nose, but you don't have to. Oh, man. Oh, I can't get that out of my nose now. That has ruined my life to a large extent. Blimey. Quickly, sound machine, make us all feel better. That made me feel worse. Bad sound machine. Oh, well, there's a bit of food. Let's finish up on a bit of tat with one of the most... frankly, useless and pathetic things I've ever seen. This is a gift from Dan Hardcastle, Dan Nerd Cubed, friend of the channel, who very kindly gave me the worst calculator he has ever seen. It's also the worst calculator I've ever seen. Not only is it a stupid shape, but there are various design flaws and idiosyncrasies, which we will now get onto in detail. The first, and most obvious, is that the top of it contains a drowning horse. I don't know if drowning a horse is supposed to help your thought process when you're doing maths or something, but I don't really think it's something I want to be doing. It'll be shaken up, does it? Ah, there we are. Now he's in all his sea beads. And he's dead, because he's been drowned in a calculator. Well, let's not try and work out the thought process behind this, because that just ain't going to work. Then there's a picture of a cartoon dog who's confused by maths. If you've got a calculator, don't have maths confusion drawn on it. You know, that's like a basic advertising thing. But what really gets me about this is the astonishing keypad. You know how they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? This goes 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, except the 1 is offset. Therefore, meaning it's almost impossible to use without sticking your eyes on it and working out where everything is every time you press a frickin' button. But you want to know the greatest bit? It's got a display stand. Because everybody wants to display their shit calculator on their desk, apparently. Here we are, you go over there and catch rot. My goodness. So there we are, that'll do us. 10 bloody years, eh? Here's to the next 10 years, except Google will probably fuck up YouTube and everything will catch fire by then.